Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. Today is April 20th. It is Takeoff Tuesday. We've got a great trainer with us today. My name is Keely Austin. I'm excited to be here with you. Our quote of the day today is never give up your desire to be what you want to be. Stay focused, persistent, and relentless. We've got our dates for Leaders Retreat. We are going to Cabo this year. Every year, with the exception of 2020, we've gone somewhere amazing to spend time with leaders from around the country who are making big things happen in their business. We get to rub shoulders with all kinds of incredible people from this company, including Bob Snyder and all the pack. It's always been a blast. I'm really looking forward to it. So mark your calendar for August 20th through the 24th. In order to go, you do need to be 1-star, 3-star, or 5-star. So if you aren't one of those, do whatever you need to do. You've got plenty of time to make that happen. So we will see you there. Our Renatus Founders Live meeting is every Monday at 4 p.m. Mark your calendar for that as well. You do want to be present for the Founders Live. Lots of important announcements. We get a training of the week, a story of the week, as well as we get to see some really awesome recognition to see who is out there making big things happen in their businesses. So that's every Monday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. We've got our national study groups happening each and every Monday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Our host is Christian George. We had an awesome intensive with Christian over the weekend. Incredible study groups. We are going through the essentials courses, and you can find those in the Helios calendar. Our Renatus Helios app has a lot of great features. If you haven't downloaded that, make sure you do so and get your team to get on there as well. Give it 5 stars. There's some really great features, and Renatus is continually working to make it even better. You can watch your classes from the app if you need to. If you're traveling, you can watch the live streams from the app. You're also notified when you have a commission paid, as well as when a guest is checked into an event. So a lot of really, really great, helpful, very valuable things with the app. So make sure you get that downloaded. We have lots of daily and weekly support with Renatus Team Elevate. We have our private capital masterclass. That's every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time with Dane Clark. Dane has had a lot of success with building private capital for his business, and all of that knowledge came from what he learned from our classes. So we do welcome AIT students only to attend the private capital masterclass on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So please watch your classes and then bring your questions, bring your wins, bring your shares to the masterclass so that we can talk about private capital and learn how to really start to have those conversations for our businesses. We've got our dream call, which is the daily real estate action mastermind. That's a daily call. So we've got that from Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock till about 10 o'clock, where we talk all things real estate investing. If you're brand new, this is perfect for you to start getting some motivation and start to learn how you can start to really take some massive action in your real estate investing business. And if you've been around for a while, we also urge you to come to this call to share your wisdom, to share your thoughts, to provide some guidance. So this call has been really, really helpful. We've got a lot of people who are consistent. Congratulations to those of you who continue to show up. And we've got a lot of people taking action and learning a lot of things from the dream call. So love the dream call. We do ask for both the private capital masterclass and the dream call that you are a part of the Elevate OES, the optional event subscription, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And then of course we have our daily team call where we talk all about business, we talk about marketing, personal development, and mindset. And that's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 Mountain Time. The optional event subscription, you can sign up for the OES through this website here, www.oesoes.com. And you can also watch a short video that Michael Huggins put together that talks a little bit more about what that is and how that helps you and the leadership. If you're looking to introduce any of your guests to the Profits Education, a great way to do so is to get them in front of Scott Rowe. Scott Rowe does a Profits Intro every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You can find that on the Helios calendar. Please make sure you do get registered. Every Wednesday, we have our virtual house tour. So that is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. If you're in the Salt Lake area, you can of course attend live and in person. And for anyone else around the country, we provide a virtual session for you. So we're live on Zoom where we get to tour the property, we get to learn all about the deal. And of course, make sure you're building for these events every single week. These are very powerful exposures for your guests so that they can see what's happening in today's market and the incredible profits that are being made and what people are able to do with this community and with this education. So very powerful. And please, again, make sure you do get registered in Helios, and then you can access this event through the website here, teamelevateusa.com. And then from there, you'll simply click on the house tour to get into the meeting itself. Every Thursday, we've got lots going on. We've got our our corporate onboarding at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That's a corporate meeting where any newer students, or even if you've been around for a while, you're welcome to attend. And it just really is a kind of an introductory, just to get you onboarded to the Renatus system, the wealth cycle. And then we've got our house tour again, but it's offered in Spanish on Thursdays. So every Wednesday in English, every Thursday in Spanish, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. You can also find all of these events except for corporate onboarding in the website here, www.teamelevateusa.com. We've also got our Pillars of Wealth intro presentation at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and then a couple of study groups. Both of these are also at 7. We have our multifamily study group as well as short-term rental. And then at 8 o'clock Mountain Time, we have our Velocity Banking study group. So again, lots going on Thursdays. We'll see you there. We do record these morning calls. You can catch these morning calls on both our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Our Facebook page, you definitely want to be a part of. We've got a lot of important announcements there. You can also chime in, ask questions, share your wins, and network with other people in the team. So great resource there. And then we have our YouTube channel that not only has years and years worth of these morning calls, so much value. So definitely I urge you to go back and watch some of the recordings from previous years, whether you've been around for a while or you're newer. It never would hurt to go back and do that. And then we also have our entire Zoom Up playlist on the YouTube channel. Just type in Zoom Up and you're going to see over 100 interviews with different students from across the nation who share how they got started, where they were before Renatus, and what they've been able to accomplish. And they're only about 20 minutes long. They're short and sweet and very powerful. So definitely take advantage of these resources here. Today is Takeoff Tuesday. We get to learn from Bill Predebon. Bill, before we bring out Bill, we will shift over to our money mastery exercise. We've got a short video to watch and then a quick call to action at the end, and then we will introduce our trainer of the day. So let's go ahead and shift over to that.
This brand reinvented itself has been to a viral sensation. Can you do the same thing for your product?
Today is Takeoff Tuesday. Takeoff Tuesday, we get to learn from Bill Predebon. Bill Predebon is an incredible individual. He is so energetic and so passionate, and he is a massive action taker. I have been so fortunate to get to know Bill over the years. Both of us are a part of Scottsdale Renatus over here in Arizona. And this guy is incredible. He's been a fantastic leader for the team. And I definitely miss seeing you, Bill. I miss seeing you at all of our meetings. Scottsdale isn't really a thing anymore, unfortunately, but hopefully we start to meet up again. But Bill, you've been an incredible inspiration for me over all these years, and I'm just so grateful for you. Bill's got a really, really great story. Before Renatus, he was a pro skier in Vail, Colorado, and he realized after a while that he wasn't really employable. He needed to figure something else out as far as income for long term. He learned about the franchise world. He bought into a couple of stores, and due to lack of knowledge, he ended up losing everything. In 2007, Bill learned about real estate investing. He didn't have any education, but he did go get his realtor's license, and he also became a loan officer, and he dabbled with real estate investing a little bit. But this was, of course, I mentioned 2007, so right before the crash happened. And in 2008, Bill ended up in over $400,000 in debt because of the real estate crash. After that, Bill found Renatus, and because of the wealth cycle in Renatus and the education, Bill was able to pull himself out of that hole. And now, if we fast forward to today, Bill has made millions and millions and millions of dollars as a real estate investor. And not only is Bill killing it as a real estate investor, he is also a key leader in the marketing business of Renatus. He is on the PIT team, which is the President's Advisory Council in training. And he has completed well over 150 transactions, as well as is helping people from all over with getting started with Renatus education. So absolutely make sure to take notes today. I'm excited for what Bill has to share with us today. Good morning, Bill. How are you today? I saw him just hop on. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Welcome.
I went to go to video and it just stopped responding. I had to jump off and jump back on.
Oh, okay.
But I
Cool,
did get to
cool.
hear everything. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you for, whoops, I didn't know where I just went. Thank you for putting all this together. And as always, doing everything you do. I loved your comment in there. You're doing quite a lot. It's a lot of work. You put out 60 signs. How long did that take?
About 2 hours.
Nice. Did you do it by yourself or what'd you do?
Casey drove me around and I hopped out, put up the signs, hopped back in the car, and we just drove up and down 7th Street and 19th Ave.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. They said something, you guys and girls, in there that said right at the end, it's never too late. So funny. So Renatus is so cool because I mean, as long as you renew, right? Any day you could just start over and make 10 grand, like literally, or change someone's life or change your own life. And you don't have to like start over and start from the beginning and try again. You just pick up where you left off. It's the coolest thing ever. So that's awesome. Well, thanks for that awesome introduction. Again, thanks for all you do. This is exciting to be here, everybody. I'm sorry I missed last week. It's the first time I think I've missed probably ever, possibly, that I haven't done the Tuesday morning training. Maybe one other time, I don't remember. But we were in Florida, and with the time change, I just could not make all my schedules work. I had to miss several calls. Thank you very much, by the way. All right, there was some great chats going on in there, and I'll start real quick. Does anybody want to share with what they said or what they got from the rebranding? And obviously we'll kind of keep it towards our product here, which is Renatus. Obviously, we're not rebranding Renatus, but maybe we're rebranding the way that we introduce people to Renatus. Anybody want to just come out and share it all or no? Going once? Anybody?
Let me welcome you back. This is Steve. How you doing?
I'm great, Steve. Thank you, sir. Come on out.
I'm glad you went to my hometown and enjoyed. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, I didn't have enough time is what I didn't have. I had a great time. I just, I didn't know you're from Tampa then, or?
Nah, I have friends in Tampa, but from South Florida. It's part of the South, so.
Okay, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yep. Yeah, we flew into Tampa, but spent most of our time in St. Pete's, up along the Indian shores and Indian Beach, and then down to, yeah.
Yeah, St. Pete is like the South Florida of New Orleans. It's like the New Orleans of Florida, basically, when you go to St. Pete's.
Got it.
Cool. So
yeah, I loved it.
Awesome. Really, for me, rebranding myself is recommitting myself, and part of that had to be being more consistent, especially showing up every day. And I believe that had been something that hold me back from my business. I joined Renatus about a year or so ago, and since I've been there, I've only introduced one ICM, and other people I've introduced along the process, probably over 15 or so, didn't make it through the process. So for me, it's more so, taking the time, understanding that there is a process, and the process starts with yourself and showing up, and then learning and picking up from other people, because I can keep doing exactly what I'm doing and keep getting exact same results, and then wondering what the heck is happening. But if I show up, I think that I'll pick up something from other people that may be able to help me in the process. And then I think one of the things I learned back in the day from Jim Ron is stay close to the fire. If you're showing up to the gym every day, you may not have six packs abs, but you're gonna get some results as long as you show up. And I think that's what rebranding for me means.
No, that's great. I like that. Stay close to the fire. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to plug in. It's tough. And then the longer we go without plugging in, and that goes for, I mean, that goes for even your business center, even plug it into Helios, you guys. That's why, they require you to plug in every 30 days. There's a lot of information in there that really keeps you close to the fire. So that's great. Thanks for sharing. So a couple of things. I like the recommitting, if you think about it, uh, you know, P&G picked up Old Spice as a dead product, right? They picked it up as a brand that, had value. Obviously, at one time was leader of the industry, but was a little bit washed up, and sat on it for a little while and had it in their back pocket. But when they decided to recommit to it, and when they decided to rebrand it, and they decided to pay attention to it and give it some thought and energy and effort, they had someone help them come up with a way to do that. And as you know now today, they're some of the weirdest commercials on the planet, but people pay attention to them, and it's doing its job. So I like that idea. Let me ask you, and Steve, you don't have to answer, but anybody else, why do you think? So I'm going to do it with being gone for a week, and I have a couple of topics, but one thing is this, and I thought about this last night. Of course, before I get on the call, I see. I'll comment to you, Frank. My job here, in my opinion, is to help you. Right, is to share my experience and my success in the Renatus marketing cycle, in order for something to click with all of you, or one of you, or all of you at some point each week, so that you can have more success in your Renatus business. And your Renatus business is simply introducing the information to other people and then walking them through the process, as Steve mentioned, and then hopefully having them join. And then at a little bit elevated level, you would start to build a team, and you would become a full-time marketer, not full-time necessarily outside of your job, but or without a job, but full-time in addition to your job, or whatever the case is, where you're doing it full-time. You're doing it not 40 hours a week. I don't even market 40 hours a week, but you're marketing full-time every day. It's on your mind. It's something you become and do. So that's my job, if you will, for me to share that with you today. So a couple questions to you. Number one is, maybe you could share with me why there is, like, for example, Steve said, I've been around for a year or so, and I've talked to a couple people to get them through the process, and I had to recommit. Does anybody want to tell me what they feel might be the cause of that disconnection from joining Renatus and become, literally, I'm not talking about buying the education per se necessarily, but when we become an ICM, we pay $197, right? And then we sign a contract, and we know what that means. We know that we're going to share this information with people. Can anybody share with me the disconnect that you may have had, not that you're having right now? I mean, obviously, you're here. Yeah, go ahead.
Mine was basically, I got comfortable.
Comfortable what? In what?
I got comfortable living the life I was living. It wasn't stretching.
Okay.
I wasn't. It wasn't a necessity to move past my comfort zone. All right, so I had a good job. I was always in sales, and I always knew what I did was depending on my performance. So I was a top salesperson where I worked, and I was always.
Why did you become an ICM then? If you had a good job and you were comfortable and making good money, and you were good at your sales job?
When I joined Renatus, I joined because I saw the opportunity for me to not only be to become an investor. That was primarily the reason I joined.
Okay.
And then in the process, what I saw was that I love the community, and then also I had the opportunity not only to become an investor, but also I can make money on the side with it. It wasn't intentionally, okay, I wanted to be full-time marketer. It's just that I saw the opportunity because I've been in network marketing opportunities before. But when I saw this, it wasn't any comp plan like a typical network marketing. That got me excited because I know that even though I wasn't doing it full time at that moment, But at any point in time, if I get to that level, 5-star qualified, I introduce one person, which I know my network would expand based on the activities I'll be doing on the real estate, then I could make a 10 grand commission. So that itself got me excited. But what happens along the way was I got comfortable with doing the same old things, not stretching myself, and the fact that okay, I've maybe some of it had to do with the point where I run out of the close proximity of people that I could reach out to because they weren't hungry or excited, and then I'm not the type of person that will keep pulling somebody because I understand that if I have to push you to join me in what I'm doing, then I have to keep doing it when it comes to doing the work. So I basically, I'm the type of person I cut you off kind of thing. If you're not with me, that's it. I'm just gonna keep moving and find other people.
Okay. And that makes sense. I mean, that's definitely an easy way, or not easy way, but that you don't want to obviously pull people, you don't want to push people, things like that. But at the same time, we got to remember that if we're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you're in, great, great. And most people don't operate that, especially that way at a $20,000 level. They need help, right? We need to get to know them. We need to dive into some of the things, and we'll get into that a little bit. Obviously, we talk about that type of training. Dane does a very good job of asking questions and exposing what it is the person really likes. So what I like what you said here, Steve, is, and follow me where I'm going, folks. Pick up what I'm putting down, right? Let me ask you this, Steve. If you if you're like your sales job, and and you like the idea of the $10,000 commission, I like that. It makes sense. If you get 5-star, hey, I can make a little extra money. I like that idea. If you got a second job, right, and you're like, well, I like the idea of making another, 100,000 a year, or 50,000 a year, or $40,000 a year. Do you get the job and then not show up to the job?
It, at that time, that wasn't the process. That wasn't the
Right.
top process. It wasn't. It's just, and I'll tell you, since then, I've made the transition with the commitment I've made. I no longer have that job. So I burned all bridges. Now I'm here. So having to recommit meant for me that if I'm gonna go in, I'm going all the way in real estate investing. I had to upgrade from essentials to get my Epics combo. So I've done all that just because okay, I know now because it got to a point where I wasn't happy with my job. I didn't have to commute to work, and I was exhausted every day because I didn't like the quality of people that I was serving, and the way it just didn't align with my values. So I walked away from that, and being here, has given me purpose, knowing knowing that I can help people, especially with velocity banking, people that I know, doctors and pharmacists, knowing the amount of loans they have. So I see value in what I'm doing now, and the purpose is probably what I didn't have then, seeing what I had in my hand.
Got it. All right. Awesome. So actually that's perfect, because that's what I was getting at. Okay. So, and everybody can feel that. So the idea is that there is a timing when it comes to, in this case, jumping all in, burning bridges and things like that, and committing to it, and taking the steps that you need to really jump into your business. And so it's interesting because we got to think about, I guess what I was going with that is, when we become an ICM, there's a commitment there, and we've got to, do a mental check, if you will, on that commitment. Like, why did we become that ICM? What did we see at that time that made sense for us, but we're not experiencing the actual being an ICM, if that makes sense? Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'll get back to this, and kind of trying to make sense of this. Does anybody have something that you're working on? I haven't done this in a little while, that I can help you with, that I can focus this training around, but specifically help you in a situation where you are working with an what's the word I'm looking for? A prospect. You are, trying to make sense of the Wealth Summit and the link that you have, or you're trying to make sense of Drive, or you're trying to make sense of where the direction of the company, or, just even anything that has to do with the wealth cycle. Is there anything in your business that you're working on that you could use, that you have a question about, or want some advice on? Oh, let's just check in the chat here. Anybody?
Hey, good morning. It's Central Parker. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you,
Hi.
Sandra.
I'll kind of just jump in there, unfiltered. I wanted to say something about what you just left, though, because I signed up as an ICM because I saw it was something good, but it wasn't what I was focused on. I came in because of real estate. So picking up the ICM contract was like going food shopping. It was buying something, it was good, I'll have it. And when I get to it, I get to it. But then I realized it took almost like renewing 2 times. I've just started becoming a marketer. I've just started.
Okay, perfect. And I think you're not alone. I think there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, everybody, where you are and why, or what you've done or what you haven't done, or where you are with it. It's absolutely perfect. So when you were food shopping and you picked it up, man, I had a great question and then it came in and came out. What is it that is making you want to, you said you came in for real estate. What is it about the marketing now that is different than when you signed up for the ICM the first time?
Well, one thing is I made the commitment myself now to stay close to the fire because I'm totally unemployable. I'm getting a job working for somebody's not going to work for me at all. So the reason I picked up the ICM and what attracted me to it was that I saw that it was something good, but I still had a major mindset change that had to happen. So in the beginning, I wasn't staying close to the fire. I was just very isolated. I was doing my studies and that's it. But that wasn't because of Renatus. That's because of where I was in my life at that time. Now, because I've been going to the classes and coming on calls, I'm staying closer to the fire and I'm getting warm and I'm catching that bug of saying, okay, I can really up my income because if I help other people, I'll be helping myself. And then, of course, then my big why is out there also. I not only need, but I want to secure my finances and live the lifestyle I want to live without compromising.
Okay.
Without compromise.
Perfect. This is great. This leads me to the next thing. Okay. Thank you. I love it. I think you're right. That why is important, and you're right. You can up your income. I totally relate to you with being unemployable. Not only am I not unemployable, or am I unemployable, but I'm also, I can't hold a job. I get fired from every job I take. So check this out, folks. Like, let's think about this. When we think about the marketing, there's a couple things. Number one is, if we're going to become a marketer with Renatus, and make it full time and up our income, there's definitely a certain commitment, and there is a system about it, and we have to treat it like a business. We have to treat it like a job, and we have to, schedule in the time, schedule time to make calls, schedule time to make follow-ups, and we have to be willing to talk to warm market and cold market and all different types of lead sources. So we really have to treat it as if in the beginning, it is a job. If that's going to be your primary income and you're going to bring in, because real estate, as you guys all know, is a process, right? But there's a couple different ways to look at this. For me, the way I've treated the marketing is I looked at it for what it's worth in the wealth cycle that Bob created. And simply, I realized that as I learned more information, and I don't care what part of my journey we're talking about, whether it's from the beginning or even now when I'm still learning things and still doing new different types of transactions, then what I've found is as I learn the information and I'm building my real estate business and I'm creating a real estate portfolio and working in real estate, I run across people all the time. And what I find is that I can share that information. And when I share that information, it's typically not telling people about the information. It's asking people to find out if they're interested in the same information I have. Even if they don't say, Bill, wow, I'd love to know how you're doing what you're doing, but I'm in the real estate world with them. Like they're in my path. Even on Facebook, when they comment about a property I post or a post that I make or whatever it is, or whatever the medium is that I'm introducing myself to this person, I'm asking questions. So ultimately, I'm going to have a conversation with them about what they're looking for and where I can put them in my world as a new relation, right? If it's going to be an introduction to Renatus, if it's going to be an introduction to being a lender, if they're just simply going to be someone who's going to always be a consumer of real estate and not an active investor, or if they're going to be a passive investor. So where I'm going with this is no matter when we decide and how we decide to become an ICM, I think it is, in my experience, important that we decide why we're doing that we decide why we're going to talk to people. When Steve said he talked to a few people in the first year, there has to be an on purpose. There has to be a reason for that. Typically, we just do it because we feel that obligation to do it. Typically, we're like, oh, I've got to let somebody know, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, have you ever thought about investing in real estate? But we do it because it is something we're supposed to do. And we know we're an ICM, and possibly if we, talk to the right person or something like that, then at least we've gotten the word out. And it can work. There will be an opportunity where one time in a certain amount of times, everybody that talks to somebody, that person may be the exact right person. You can't say the wrong thing to them, and they are going to enroll in a very short period of time, and everything is good. But that's few and far between. It takes a little bit of work. That's why we're on these training calls. But it's important, I think, that we understand that in order to do the ICM, not in order, not like it's the only way, but the way that I did it is not only did I recommit, just like Steve said, I recommitted in 2016 when I got back with Renatus and joined Dr. Gary and his Scottsdale group. And not only did I recommit to being an ICM, but I also recommitted to the act of an ICM, which is placing ads. And then I committed to the training, and I committed to how to learn to be an ICM. But I also committed to showing up to every event. Talk about being in close to the fire. Like when I look at my calendar, there's 20 events a week practically that I'm at. Not really, but if I include my team calls and everything, there's a lot of calls. All these calls every morning. The founders webinar, I haven't missed any of those since 2016. And so when I recommitted, so then I recommitted to not only that, but I also had to recommit to why I'm doing it. Now, like you just said, you wanted to up your income. I absolutely wanted to up my income. But I also wanted to increase my real estate business. I wanted to have a bigger network. I wanted to have more money. I wanted to have more deals. So there was a reason for me to introduce this opportunity to more people. And in order to do that, I had to get more leads. So I did have to place Craigslist ad. I did have to start Facebook posting. I did have to dive into my warm market again. I did have to check out my phone and old leads. So I was, in a sense, rebranding, but I was rebranding for a reason. There was a reason. Like if if Procter and Gamble simply just said, you know what, we've spent the money, we better go ahead and do something with this stupid product that we bought, it may have worked, but there may not have been the same result. And there may not have been the the money and generated, and it could have flopped. It could have been good money after bad. And instead, they, from my perception, is they looked at Old Spice and said, wow, we've already got an industry, we've got a product in an industry that is booming. Axe is coming on fire. Everybody on their planet was buying Axe. They were talking about the body spray, and they were like, wow, we've got this thing. And if we actually spent some time on it and rebrand it, we could jump right on that bandwagon and blow it up. And we could take a portion of that space and that market share, and we could kill it. And so they did it with a purpose. There was a reason behind rebranding Old Spice, not just because they spent some money on the product and they bought it from somebody and they took it over and it was just sitting there on the shelf and they needed to do something with it, right? So I hope that makes a little sense. Great question. So I have Karen. We have a lot of, I like this. I don't know if you want me to address this at all, Karen, or you were just posting it out there, but it says we have a lot of investors here that got a bad taste about Renatas, and it's hard to counteract that. A couple of them started having meetings once a month for networking and some training, but I need to find a way to change the dialogue. Are you able to elaborate on that? Did you want me to talk to that at all? I like the 5 Fs. I'm just checking some of the chats to see. Hometown is Clearwater. I love it. I went up to that side too. I really like it up there. Okay, no worries.
Hey, Bill.
Yep, go ahead.
I've set up a couple of Zoom meetings in a few weeks with some realtors. And I've asked them, are they investors? And, they want to get into some stuff. Can you speak to how to approach a realtor in a marketing sense, simply because of their indoctrination to, they kind of, some of them think about investing, some of them don't. Just talk about how you would market to real quick, some do's and don'ts with realtors.
Okay, I'm going to do it generally, and then I'll do it specifically, I think. And then I saw that Karen chatted yes, so I'm going to talk to that too. Okay. So I think generally, I'm going to make some assumptions, and it depends on Jeff, which realtors, but understand, folks, that it used to be 20%, but 10% of realtors really make money. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of people get sold on the idea of becoming a realtor. Perhaps they're a stay-at-home mom or dad. They haven't been in work in a while, or they want to be able to work from home more, and they want to transition, like they want to change their career. Becoming a realtor upfront is not that expensive. For less than $1,000, you can get started in a business that could make you $100 grand a year, or more. And it's a 1099 job. You can get yourself with a brokerage. Typically, people meet people that have friends that convince them to go become a realtor. Now, folks, this is true. I'm not making this up, but it's not true for everybody, but the majority, in my opinion. They also treat it like we treat an ICM. If I could sell 1 or 2 houses a year, my friends buy and sell their houses, they have no idea how to sell a house. They don't take any of the continuing education classes. They're not studying really how to become a realtor, but they're licensed. So the odds of them really helping their friends sell their house and maximizing the value is not very good, except for the fact that they're their friends and they're going to try to, they're going to be loyal to them. So in this case, what they find is that it's hard work. It's nights and weekends. They end up with a lot of buyers. Buyers, as you guys know, are a pain in the butt, especially in the market. Could you imagine being a buyer's realtor in today's market? And where's the majority of the buyers? Under $300,000 or whatever it is in your median income in your area. And there's no houses. And they don't have cash and they don't have reserves. And they're driving around with you and they're going to see 50 houses and every house is getting bought by cash, $20,000 over list or more. And you are not going to make a single dollar. You're not going to make a single commission driving these people around because no one can get a house unless you get one lucky buyer who has to go over. And then if you took in a different market and you've got buyers and you've got listings, but number one is when you have all these houses and then you don't have as many buyers and it's a buyer's market instead of a seller's market, then you don't have as many buyers and there's not as many actions going on. The buyers are just looky-loos and half of them aren't even buying when they're out looking. They're like, we're going to wait. And you've spent all this time. So understand it's difficult. Listing agents take time to become listers. You get your listing from your friend possibly, or your neighbor, if you're lucky, but listing agents market for listings and that becomes the person, right? And then they build a team and that's how they become in the top 10% earners. But understand, these buyers are not shopping Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. These buyers are shopping Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays, when you don't want to work, when you want to be with your family. So understand that realtors went in to become a realtor, and I believe were duped. And they probably are not experiencing the lifestyle of a realtor and what they thought the realtor would be. If you are talking to one of the people in the top 10%, or let's even give them the benefit of the doubt that it's the 20%, then we're talking about someone who's busy. They are actively marketing. They are studying the trade. They are becoming a student of the trade. They have a mentor. They're building a team, and they don't have time for Renatus. Now, when you're talking, and I'm talking about the business, but when it comes to now them becoming an investor, those people have access to deals. They have, now I know they're not buying them, and I know they're not raising money, and I know they're not paying down debt, and they're just running a business like any other 1099 income job earner. However, they have the mindset that they are above the average person when it comes to real estate, which is true. They're held to a higher standard by the courts themselves, right? So in theory and in reality, they have a knowledge that other people are not privy to. Okay. So naturally they have an above you mentality. They know more than we know, whether or not they're doing it. So introducing them and telling a realtor who's actively pursuing becoming a realtor and doing real estate as a realtor, telling them that they should learn to invest in real estate isn't going to go over very well. Does that make sense? Like it could be like talking to an athlete going, yeah, maybe you should get in the gym a little bit. And the guy's like, I've been an athlete my whole life. Who the heck are you telling me? No matter how good a shape you're in. And so it's a very difficult sell. So that's generally what I think of the real estate profession when it comes to talking to realtors. I think that realtors could benefit on so many levels with Renatus that it's a fully untapped market. So as we narrow this down, Jeff, and we're talking to a few people that you're talking to, and they're a broker or a realtor, I have Jim, Brian, Carrie, Sean. I know I'm missing a bunch. Bud. I have almost 10 realtors on my team. And the number one way that I have created realtors to invest in the education is I have built a relationship and cultivated the relationship with them. It is not fast. It is not overnight. It is not a quick sale. Like they're in a transition in their life and they're looking for something specific and they want more education or they want more income or they want more retirement or they want to have a rental. It's not that case. They know that there's real estate but by no means are they going to sit there and go, well, you're right. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for 10 years. I don't make that much money at it. I do okay. I don't own any other properties but my primary residence. And therefore I'm a failure. And no one's going to come out and say that and it's not true. They're not a failure, but they're not doing the real estate probably that they believe that they should be doing. And to get that information from them and have them admit that so that they can go look at your education is probably not that easy. And it makes total personal sense. I mean, the body and the mind is going to protect them from that embarrassment. So we need to cultivate the relationship, and we need to maybe introduce them to Renatus down the road and get to know them, take them out to dinner. How do they work with clients? Build a relationship. Maybe approach these realtors, you guys, as friends, as colleagues, and as assets that can bring you buyers, that can bring you deals, right? Maybe there's a way for you to help them make money. In theory, not that you need to have a transaction happen before you introduce Renatus to them, but perhaps you develop a relationship and a system that could potentially bring both of you money in the future. And then as you get to know them, you're like, then you ask the question, folks, let me ask you, I've never asked you this before, but there's obviously some, do you know any realtors in your brokerage or, your broker, do they own property too? I mean, you know some guys that are really killing it in where they own flips or they flipping house. Yeah, I've got some guys that are flipping house. They've been talking to me about it. I want to get into it. I'm just, still working with my buyers, or, I've only been doing this a year. I've talked to my husband or my wife and, we've talked about doing it. And all of a sudden, like, it's there, but they're not ready for it yet. And it's not because they wouldn't take advantage of the opportunity, but they don't know how to do it. But they're not going to come out and say, yeah, I really don't know have anything about it, because they're in the darn industry. They're working with investors. They're looking for investor clients, and they're going to sit there and tell an investor client they don't know what an investor is or how to invest themselves. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to do that. So, folks, it's an absolutely untapped market. But like anything with anybody, and we narrow this down, realtors, in my opinion, are no different than anybody else with a job or a business or a life. Whether they're an engineer, whether they are a salesperson, whether they are a realtor, whatever it is, we have to ask questions on what they're looking for. We have to solve a problem, and then we have to introduce the solution to that problem through the means of Renatus. And typically, you advertise, and if a realtor happened to respond, let me give you an example. Steve is a realtor. Steve called me off a cold call. I answer my phone. I know most of the time they're cold calls. Sometimes I just hang up. In this case, it was calling off one of my properties. And he was working for a company who was scraping data, and they called me. And Steve started talking to me about this property. And I went on, instead of hanging up and saying something funny or sarcastic or mean to him, I said, how did you get this? I'm like, what are you looking for? What property are you talking about? Oh, I'm talking about Marigold. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you got to see Marigold. I turned that into an Airbnb. I'm getting $5,500 a month for that thing. And I used to get $2,500 a month. I'm like, I'm crushing it. Start talking. He's like, oh man, I've always wanted to get an Airbnb. And how did you do that? Start telling him about it. Like, you know what? Listen, I'm at one of my properties, and I said, you know what? I've got to go, but let me ask you, if I could share with you some information about getting involved and maybe networking with me, would that interest you at all? Or you just want to keep here sitting here calling? I actually hate calling. I hate making these calls. No one even answers my call, and they all hang up on me. I'd love to have that information. Within 2 months, Steve was 100% Epic's combo holder with me, and is one of my team my key guys on my team right now. So I don't remember why I started that story, but I got to know Steve, and that was like anything. It was just him. It didn't matter that he was a realtor or anything like that. I just asked the same questions no matter what their job is. Did that help, Jeff? All right. I think we've got a minute.
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Wow. And Keely, I don't know if you can reinterpret what Karen said here. We have a lot of investors that got a bad taste about Renatus.
I would want to know more about what happened. Like, why did they get a bad taste? Did they have a bad experience with somebody? What happened?
And unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. So here's what I have to say to this, you guys. This isn't uncommon. It's not very common, but it totally happens. And then and she needs to find a way to change the dialogue. And so, you know, on the quick surface answer, changing the dialogue could simply be your new link, getting that link out to more and more people for the Wealth Summit and get people enrolled in that and get that link out to everybody without knowing the information, just knowing it's about making money and, you know, building business and starting business and recreating business and rebranding and taking back 2021 and all those great things. The other thing that we got to remember is, man, Jen, I got to take a snapshot of this. And then I can call you. The other thing is that stories in your own mind, in my opinion, and all of the testimonies that we have, sharing that information or reminding yourself of all the testimonies that we have of people that you know have been successful in Renatus will eliminate any bad taste about Renatus. There, honestly, if you just dig deep and you take 5 minutes or 3 minutes in your breath and you think about the person that Bob Snyder is and the things that he's doing for the company and the people, do we really ever think that Bob Snyder would want any of us to sign up as an ICM and then not make money and not have the best opportunity to do so and just keep your 197 or anything like that, or have you not do real estate? No. There's things about Bob Snyder that he does that are opposite of sales, where there are people that sell things based on the fact that they hope they give away offers knowing people won't take advantage of it, and yet Bob never do the same sales tactic because it's the opposite. He wants you to use anything that he offers to you, and he wants to pay for that and have you use it so that it's not a loss leader, but it's actually something that will benefit you and make you more successful. Does that make sense? So there's nothing in the blood of Renatus that I am aware of that has any negative connotation whatsoever, no matter what people have a bad taste. If they have a bad taste, it's on them and it's coming internally, and there's a problem. There may be a bad person in Renatus. There may have been the wrong way it was sold. There may have been a promise that was given. That's not unrealistic. It's not very often, and it's probably not even intentional. It's probably because the person was so excited and they were just trying to share the information in the wrong way, and they were new to it. But you know, for the most part, there's nothing bad in Renatus. And if you have that belief that everybody needs Renatus and it's somebody else's loss, and you stick to our core 4 beliefs, then that stuff won't matter. And I know you know this, Karen, obviously, and that'll help you perhaps you know, restart that dialogue and so on. All right, I'm going to take a quick picture of this chat because I just want to answer this maybe on the phone. All right, guys, I hope that helped. I really wanted to, I just really want to make this about you guys. And so thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for being here today. And even though I wasn't here last week, I greatly appreciate it. Make it a great Tuesday. There is a couple people that reached out to me over Florida that I didn't get back. Esterine, you're one of them. I will get back to you this week. You are awesome. And I love you guys. And so thanks a lot. Make it a great Tuesday. Get on the dream call and make it happen. You got my number if you need me. All right. Thanks, Keely Beals, for everything you do. Thanks, Steve.
You're
and
awesome,
everybody else.
Bill.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.